Hello and welcome or welcome back to Talking About Cross Stitch with me, Karen the Stitching Owl. I come to you on October the 20th of 2024 in a month that has just zoomed by. I don't know where all the hours go. I really wish somebody could invent a 40-hour day but not tell any employers, so we all have extra time to stitch. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch my videos and support my channel. I truly feel blessed to have reached 1,000 subscribers and have a few more new subscribers, so thank you, thank you. I do have the ability to announce that, okay, let me get this right. The winner of my 1,000 subscriber giveaway of a $50 gift certificate to my local needlework shop that does have an online or in-person presence. It is called Stitch Central. The winner is Britches Get Stitches, and I'm going to just put it up above because there's some underscores, and indeed there's a Flosstube for you to consult. So congratulations, and could you please email me so that I can determine whether you would like an in-person or online gift certificate. I think you're going to be an onliner. Congratulations. So very exciting, and thank you again to each of you who have taken that moment to press the subscribe button and notify. It means so much to me. These videos are indeed a highlight in my life right at the moment. So if we dive on in, for my Send a Smiles, over the past 2 weeks, I have been working on things to make people smile, but I admit that I'm not going to show you what they are. They are going to people in person at Stitch North. It is this coming weekend, and I have the privilege of hopping in the car of Lisa from Forest City Stitching. Might even have my friend Jody come along with us there. If not, she'll meet us. So we're just getting ready to have a whole lot of fun, and so looking forward to meeting Lisa of Lost in Stitches, who will be flying in from Edmonton. It was so exciting to hear from her this morning. Love that we can direct message all around the world. So yes, it's going to be an exciting time for us this coming weekend, and my preparations will continue. I will be preparing all the way up until Lisa actually stops in my driveway to get me. So that's just the way things go, and we'll see how many things I can make. I just want to say that there are definitely continued prayers for those people who have been affected by the weather. The hurricanes and tornadoes that have been spawned have caused massive damage. There's been flooding, and I feel very blessed that while there are certainly more tornadoes in Ontario than there used to be, for the most part, we don't have the catastrophes that many of my stitchy friends have. A number of the designers have created patterns that, when purchased, either partial or all of the purchase price will be forwarded to benefit those who have had major destruction in these weather situations. I do realize that there's multiple people who have done this. The one that I am personally aware of is Jan Hicks, who is, for about a week, she was forwarding everything from the patterns, and she's now sending, I believe it's about 50% for the rest of this month. So I hope you'll check out her Etsy shop and help others while you build your stash. She has beautiful patterns. I want to say a happy birthday to Laura of Stitching by the Shore. She has a wonderful #pumpkin_birthday_Sal, which many people enjoy participating in. And indeed, she keeps the same hashtag each year so that we can just notify her or tag her anytime we're doing something that is pumpkin oriented or even on pumpkin fabric. So I hope you'll join me in wishing her happy birthday. She has announced that she's going to have a birthday Zoom on Wednesday the 23rd. And I'm going to encourage you to consult her Facebook page, Stitching by the Shore, or contact her directly by email so that you can get the link. I know that the Stitch Together will be a lot of fun. Just happens that that's the day I need to spend hours at the hospital with my mother, going through a bunch of more tests. So I'm going to stitch with Laura tomorrow, and I think Contented Needleworker Kim is joining us, and with fingers crossed, maybe Amy of Renewing Stitches. I am so lucky to have wonderful people to digitally stitch with, online friends. I realize I may not meet many of you in person, but you are definitely full friends that I treasure. I wanted to show you a find as my mother goes through her closets and starts handing out things to us. Anything in a frame is coming my way because I'm the one that is wanting the frames. And yes, in some cases, I will save what's in the frame, and in other cases, I just want the frame. Now, this one is handiwork that my mother did. This is actually a needlepoint. And you can see that it's from the period of time where silhouettes were very popular. I remember her having challenges trying to make sure that the nose of this gentleman didn't make him look like Pinocchio. Needlework canvas is actually a harder canvas, and so you don't have the ability to even go into the middle of something, even the way we do in Ada cloth. So she was working at that nose for a while. Now, I will keep this particular needlepoint as is until such time that I look at this and go, that frame is perfect for, and then I will take out the 2 clamps that my father put in, and I'm gonna, she'll be amazed. I'm gonna show you her back. So this is how she laced, and this is just basic butcher's twine, and then they went around, I would say it's a piece of cardboard that's in there, and you just have these 2 little clips that are holding that in, and it's been like this for decades. So that is my retro look, and you can see that I left my squirrel wall hanging by my mother up for the full month of October, and we'll be replacing that with something new to show you next time. Okay, fully finished items. I want to start out by saying thank you. Thank you to Sandy of Stitchin' with Sandy for continuing to host the Zooms on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of each month. For me, it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we stitch for a few hours. She's in California, so of course she's earlier in the day. I believe she starts at 10 o'clock. And I was delighted that my friend Karen from here in town joined us this past time, and I hope she will do that again soon. So I got a couple of things beaded during her Zoom, and then later on, just a few days ago, I had a wonderful stitching period with Connie, who wanted just a few pointers or jumping off moments with how to bead around an ornament. And I happily watched her do the entire ornament during our online session, and I got 2 more done myself. So thank you, Sandy and Connie, because otherwise I might not have had anything fully finished. So let's look at what I did with Sandy. The first thing is Christmas creatures. I guess these are woodland creatures. My daughter is doing these woodland baby creatures, and there's 10 to 12 in the series. So here I beaded around the outside in the colors that are in here. These beads here that are my anchor beads look black here, but they are actually green. Sometimes videos don't show us true coloring, but this is one of my larger ornaments, but I think it's adorable, and she will be able to give this away, and I need to get busy because I have quite a few of these. You will find that out later. And I also did this Quaker. So this is off of the 1 Dozen Quakers by Rosewood Manor. I am stitching this in conjunction with the Sunshine Stitchers, who are running a sal, the hashtag Bake Me a Quaker Sal. And EJ is going to finish her Rosewood Manor. She has a number started. This year she wanted to make sure she finished it, and she is on track to do so. Now, they have actually picked out a wonderful modern folk embroidery project for the 2025 sal, so I'm going to encourage you to consult their Facebook page and videos to find out more about this. Now, just to remind you, when I do my Quakers, I'm on a 32 count even weave, and I'm using 1 strand of sulky thread. Plus, of course, some beads. So that was what I accomplished. Yes, the one for my daughter took over 2 hours to bead. Beading is not quick, but it's satisfying for me. Now, during my time with Connie, I fully finished the Forest Fox by Pigeon Coop Designs. This is on a 20 count Ada called Cloud Break by Roxy Floss Co., which is sold through Evertote here in London, Ontario. And I'm using 1 strand of DMC, and yes, I actually did follow the recommended colors of DMC here. There might be a substitution, but I don't think so. So this one, because it was 20 count, turned out quite small. And the last thing that before I go on, hashtag Pigeon Coop Book Sal. So Helen D is stitching lots of Pigeon Coop pieces, and of course Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Beth, that I went blank for a moment there. She is stitching these with me as well. So to be honest, my plan is to do like 99% of the book. And my last fully finished is another lollipop. So this is from the book Cookie Cutter Ornaments by It's So Emma. And this side is Rudolph, and this side is the Christmas bow. So I've gone around the outside, and as I mentioned last time, all I'm doing is I'm leaving out 2 beads at the bottom so that I can pop this stick in that is an Amazon purchase. They are cake pop sticks where you make crumbled up cake pieces into bite-sized, what looks like popsicles for children, and then you just put in a cake pop. So these are perfect for what I am doing and easy to insert. So those are all of my fully finishes, and we'll see what I get done for next time. Yes, it's another busy week. Now, I forgot to say that for this, I am stitching these with Allison of Mrs. AZ Family Zoo. We have purchased more of these small designs and are going to create some sort of generic hashtag so that you can join us with a Valentine's smalls, spring, fall, Halloween, patriotic, whatever smalls you want, and you can stitch these up. So right now that hashtag is the Christmas Cookie Cutter Sal. We were back and forth on choosing something generic, but we didn't quite pin it down, so I will announce that next time. Okay, so now that takes me to just saying that when you are fully finishing your items, one of the things that can be fun to do is to hashtag these with the FFO Challenge 2024, which is a hashtag that has been created by the 2 Tall Stitchers. Now, if you haven't been watching their Flosstubes, I do hope that you'll pop over. They are such a joy, mother and daughter team. They stitch many things. They are also quilters and have a quilt of the day. There's some crocheting going on and always lots of fun. Okay, let's see. Okay, now I'm out of the fully finished items. I type up a general outline to make sure I don't miss too many things, although I still tend to miss something, as you know. Okay, finished items. Okay, so I'm going to start with more of the Woodland Christmas creatures. These are by my daughter, and they are on a Basics Vigart 14 count Ada. So this is the baby panda. And this is the baby fox. So as I said earlier, I actually have another couple upstairs, so I need to keep working on fully finishing those so that she can give them out at Christmas. That's the idea. Now she also finished another portion. Maria of Cute Patterns by Maria on Etsy has a witches sampler, and what we've been doing is, instead of doing one big picture, taking different portions of it. And this is a hand with mushrooms, always very, very precise fingernails in here. The shading of the hand is absolutely gorgeous. Maria does wonders with shading. And here there's just enough backstitch to make this picture come to life, but not so much that it becomes a chore for my daughter. I think she has joined many of us in deciding a lot of backstitching slows you down. So those are the finishes by my daughter. Now for me, I had to look around and see what I did with it. I finished, just going to put this behind. I started stitching a Yasmin Made with Love pattern with, good grief, I keep going blank. Amy. I've never forgotten your name before, Amy. I do apologize. Renewing Stitches. So we picked different patterns, but we picked patterns that were going to be relatively quick stitches, so they weren't carrying on into 2025. And this is my spring bouquet, stitched on a 40 count Verdal. So I am loving Verdal, and I just got another 1/2 meter yesterday at my LNS. Very, very simple to stitch. Didn't take me any time at all to do this, but it's so charming. So I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do this as a flat fold, probably a flat fold, but I will keep you posted because it could also be an adorable pillow, couldn't it? And a start and finish since the last time we got here together. So it's the Cross Stitch in the Forest book by Max Pigeon. I started Flight of Flock and I finished it. So again on 40 count Verdal. So in total it's not very big, but you will notice that except for the birds, which I believe are Canadian geese by their shape, Canadian geese always fly in a V. The one at the front is the one doing the hard work with the flying, and then they trade off who's at the front so that the same bird doesn't get fatigued. Other than those spots, it is full coverage. So this did take quite a few hours to do, but it was easy to stitch in the middle of the night when I was experiencing the insomnia. Just like Contented Needleworker Kim, we do have an issue with insomnia. I did all of the called for colors here. I think they are gorgeous. So I'm just going to hold it up close. Isn't that gorgeous? So although Max does do all of his sample stitching, he has a team of sample stitchers on Aida cloth, there is a reasonable amount of 3/4 stitches, and that's how we get these wonderful gentle lines here that create the right shape for the wings. So I do find it easier to do these on something where you have an even weave or a linen and are working over 2. It isn't impossible on Aida. Clearly he demonstrates that it is possible. I've got some sort of hair that's bothering my eye. So I was really pleased with that one. Very, very excited. I am not finished with my finishes. So I have another Quaker. So I'm just going to show you the 1 Dozen Quakers book is this. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the center of different motifs and using that to make ornaments. And this time I was doing red, and I took out some of the X's and did beading instead. So this was actually a leftover piece. It was 28 count even weave vintage Stormy Night, and it was just the edge. You can sort of see a funny shape here. So this was the little piece that was cut out when I fully finished the flamingo stocking for Alicia the Fanciful Flamingo. And I saved it because I thought, you know, somewhere there's going to be an ornament that I can make out of that. I'm sure you all do this as well. And so I've got enough to do another one on the other side of this. So I was really pleased with how that worked out. So that is still for the Bake Me a Quaker sale. Now also in finishes, I'm going back to the cookie cutter ornaments because I did do, and I'm just going to fold up the piece of material, the stocking and the snowman. Now the stocking is definitely finished with all of the beading. The cross stitching is done on the snowman, but I do need to do more beading, and then I will be able to fully finish it into another lollipop. And I have 2 more of these already done waiting for lollipop finishing. So yes, I'm going to end up with a centerpiece for sure. And also in my finished items, we have the 12 Days of Christmas. So these are the little stockings that I am doing with Dottie the Stitching Scotty and many others. I've just seen a lot of people doing these little stockings and I'm so excited. I do hope you all will hashtag Dottie and I in Instagram so we can see how you have finished them. So in here, the last time we were together, I showed you some that were mostly finished but didn't have the beading. Well, when I was at the Stitch-In at Stitch It Central, I did beading. So you've seen number 5 before for 5 golden rings. 6 swans a-swimming. No, 6 geese a-laying. That's a goose, not a swan. This is 7 swans a-swimming. I think that's just such a pretty use of the swan. 8 maids a-milking. 9 ladies dancing. 10 lords a-leaping. 'And the last one was a start and finish since the last time we were together. 11 pipers piping. I almost forgot where I was in the song. So I'm just going to remind you that I'm using a 36 count opalescent linen, using 1 strand of sulky thread, so therefore it's a complete conversion. And because I'm doing this on white, I am often changing the colors from what is shown here because their plan was to do it on black. And there are times that I just felt like, okay, the pants were a little bit too light, or the pinks of the ladies dancing were just going to wash into the background without actually being very distinctive. So on this one, I went to a more rosy color here I was starting to think I missed a leg, but it's over here. And then I just put a little mauve ribbon on her so that it would stand out a little bit rather than be another shade of pink. These little spots are areas where she used ninja stitches just to make it. They're not snowflakes, they're just Christmassy type things. And so instead of doing the ninja stitches, I'm actually adding some bling with some beads and sequins. So with luck and time, and we'll see whether I've got luck and time on my side, I will finish my 12 days by the end of October, but that's only 10 days away. And astonishingly, I discovered that I had 2 white pieces of material left, and I'm like, that shouldn't happen. I cut out 12 of these from a single fat quarter and got this set up. Why do I have 2 left when I just finished 11? So I went through and I've discovered that I missed stitching the 4 calling birds on white. I have it on red and on blue, but I don't have it on white. So right now I've got 4 calling birds and 12 drummers drumming left to do, and then I will have some serious finishing to do so that I can send these off to the intended receivers in time for them to decorate for Christmas. That is my finishes. Yes. Okay, so a lot of my stitching time did go into the finishing, so I don't have as many whips as normal. Now, you saw that I finished something out of the In the Forest book by Max Pigeon. Now, I'm just going to show you, there is an area called the Great North that has these stitches. Last time you saw the bear finished. This time you saw the Flight of Flock finished. So over the next couple of weeks, my focus is going to be these 2. I haven't laid out my kit for this yet, but my owl, I think this is a beautiful owl. Let's see if there's a bigger picture of him. There he is. Now, there is subtle changes of color in here. It isn't all white or all light blue, it's a mix. Now, this is a small start, but Sandy, yes, I did get at least 150 stitches in. I have to see which end is up. So this is where I am. So this is half of the chest and the beginning of one wing. Is this not gorgeous material? The fabric is amazing. It's called Splash. It's an Edinburgh linen, but I do not know who manufactured this. I am glad that I've got a lot of it. I'm going to tell you though, for some reason, I find it tricky to stitch on blue. I got my laser eye surgery and I had my follow-up and my eyesight is better, although it didn't come back quite as far as they had anticipated. But I had started this thinking I would be taking it to Stitch North. I can tell you I'm not going to take this one to Stitch North because I need to be able to concentrate to not muck up the over 2 and on this color, so I will probably kit up the other picture from the north area that Max has, because that will be easier for me to do under the circumstances of being at Stitch North in the ballroom. So next time you will probably be seeing 2. I have no idea whether they will be finished. I'm pretty sure not. Now, I'm sure you're curious about my stained glass owl. So I'm pleased to announce that I now have 84 stitches left to do. So I will be doing that the first morning at Stitch North. And it is just the lower left-hand corner of black. I only have to take black. The rest of it is done. I am going to hand it to my youngest. My youngest has eagle eyes. I want to see whether there are any stitches missed. Every so often when you're tapping your pattern keeper, sometimes an extra spot gets tapped and you don't realize it. So I want to just make sure before I show it to you next time finished that I haven't missed any spots. Although I do know you guys will help me, because that's true too. That you guys are fantastic at that. I don't know how you see them. Like when somebody says, thank you, you saw that I had not finished crossing my X's over here. I'm like, how did they see that? Perhaps they're watching it on a big TV and that's how they see it. I'm always watching Flosstube on a tablet, so I don't know. Either that or I'm just old. I did get the stitching down to that many stitches and had in the middle of the night time, which is why I got that one max pigeon done. My husband's brother came to visit for a while over Thanksgiving. So I've finished the kitting up of my new full coverage, which is called By the Shore. I'm thinking Laura should be trying to do this one too, because it's by the shore. So I kitted it up, and then 2 nights ago I thought, oh, I'm just itching to put in a few stitches. So there we go. Now, let's see. This is 992 stitches, all in blue. There's less than 1,000 black stitches on here. I was so excited not to have quite as much black on this one, but there will be a fair amount of sky to do before I get to something interesting. I believe this spot here, I've got a bird to put in other colors. And you can see I'm using leftover thread of my mother's, that is polyester thread. I don't like stitching, actually sewing with it. So I do my gridding with it and then just clip it as I finish off. So there you go. I have started my next full coverage piece. And I'm just going to take it off, because as you know, I am participating in the 2024 Quaker flag sale. So it's hashtag 2024 Quaker flag. Vivian of Vivsters on Etsy has created many flags, and I have over 30 done now. I finished 2 gray Quakers this week. So this is where I am. So I got this guy done and this guy right here as well. So this one is just gorgeous. I'm amazed at the beauty of absolutely each one of these Quakers. They are each different. You can see, isn't that pretty? It's almost a snowflake. I could picture doing that one where I have the background stitched, I would leave it as the fabric, and then I would stitch the Quaker, or I would actually just bead the Quaker. I am curious about doing the Quakers in 100% beads. We'll see when I get to that one. I'm not sure, but I am very, very pleased with this. And I got a little start on this so that I could finish 2 for the next time, even though I am away at Stitch North. But again, I'm going to still be doing a lot of making for Stitch North, so I'm not sure whether my time this week will go into a lot of stitching or not. So that is my whips. And whips mean, of course, works in progress. Now, I just wanted to take a moment for shout outs, and I'll just pop on my glasses. So the first thing that I want to chatter about is Sew Me Sarah and Stitches and Diamonds. So we all know that Sew Me Sarah in, I think she's in Ireland. She does regular floss tubes and she's turning 50 this year. So many of us are trying to start 50 starts with her and Sally of Flossie Sews and Grows. I have finished 50, but I'm trying to get to 63 because that's how old I am. And clearly I did add a few more this week, but I'm not at 60 yet, so I still have a ways to go. Now, the last video that Sarah uploaded, she was demonstrating fabric by Marie and her husband of Stitches and Diamonds. Marie is Stitches and Diamonds, and she and her husband have started Swan Bay Fabrics. Now, I thought Sarah did a fabulous, fabulous job of showing the colors by, she picked out a pattern and she had all of the floss so that she could lay it across each of the fabrics and you could get a sense of what that color was. And I just thought she did such a great job. I'm a little jealous that she has Marie's fabric so close. I would have to order it across the seas, across the pond. But I'm hoping to get my hands on some. They are gorgeous. Now, when it comes to other shout outs, Toby Knits. Now, Anne is a Canadian floss tuber who's got quite a few floss tubes up. She's a multi-crafter, but she separates her crafts out. I believe she has some weeks where she posts cross stitch on Monday, quilting on Wednesday, and possibly some sort of yarn art on Friday. Might be knitting or crochet, or both. She's definitely prolific, enjoyable to watch, and she of course has a cute puppy named Toby. So she does love a mystery stitch along, so she's fun to actually watch as she builds up her pieces that she doesn't know what they will look like until she's finished. Now, Cat Hair Stitches is a new floss tube. Now, Jessie and Stephanie are from Milwaukee and they are friends. And guess what? They own 2 cats each, and I believe they each own a dog as well. So they are constantly trying to get the hair off of their embroidery. Let me see. They have a variety of projects from Carolyn Manning, Nora Corbett, Carriage House Samplings, Teresa Wentzler. Like literally, it is quite the variety. And they just enjoy each other's company so much. It is fun. And now I'm just going to try and grab. Ah, there it is. Okay, so the last shout out I have, nope, not the last, the second last. is Tammy's Cinnamon Stitches. Now she has 10 videos, fantastic variety in her stitching also. I just love the way she smiles. You can tell she just loves what she's doing, and in both the fact that she loves her stitching but also is enjoying the whole process of making the floss tubes. So she's also a designer, and on the last floss tube she did, which was number 10, she provides a link to a free project, and I'm going to do it. It's an owl. I think it's adorable, very fall oriented, but I think it could go up all year round. I think she's done a splendid job. So I hope that you will take a peek at her floss tube and see about downloading this chart. I'm sure she would love to have us tag her on Instagram when we start it. And the last shout out is Stuart in Stitches. Now I know many of you know who Stuart is. Stuart is a lovely gentleman with the most charming accent that of course reminds me of Sean Connery. It's just lovely to listen to him. But then you have my problem with Stuart is I have to put down my stitching because he's got such marvelous stitching to look at. He does everything from simple things like for Halloween to gorgeous beauties of the Norcorbit Bella Filipina type situation. So the thing that we have fun with on his videos is he's got a magic closet that seems to be packed with project bags. Some of them he hasn't peeked inside for a little while. So each of his videos, he goes into his closet to see what's going to appear this time. And we have fun seeing what he brings out. So give Stuart in Stitches a watch. I'm sure you're going to enjoy him. And that brings us to our moment for music. So we are going to be hearing a piece called Lied, which is spelled L-I-E-D. And I know people go, that's not how you would say that. Well, if you're in Germany, it is. When you have two vowels in German, you ignore the first one and you say the second one as a long vowel. Lied means song, as in a vocal piece. A lot of people use the word song to describe any kind of music, and really a song is supposed to be something that is sung. So this is by Alec Rowley, who's a British composer. He was born in the very late 1800s, like into the 1890s, a little bit ahead of the grandmother that lived with me, but not by much. And then he did most of his composing through the 20th century. He had a nice long life, but he stayed in mostly a post-romantic style. So he didn't get into the experimental music, or at least the ones that I am aware of didn't become experimental. He composed mostly small pieces, but did do a few larger orchestral and choral works. He was a dedicated teacher, and he was a broadcaster on the radio. So he is definitely well known in Britain, and Trinity College of England, which is a conservatory there, has created the Alex Rowley Prize in his memory after he passed. So this is a beautiful piece with a singing melody, as you would expect by something that's supposed to sound like it's a song. There is an introduction at the beginning before we get into the full piece, and then a postlude at the end, just as what happens when an accompanist is working with somebody who's a vocalist. So I hope you enjoy Lead. And here we are. We've come to the end of another Flosstube. Thank you so much for joining me today. My little corner of the internet is so special to me, and each of you is special as well. I will be sending out emails to the people that participated in Canada Swaps so that we can have a meeting on the first Saturday of November in the afternoon. I'm not going to reprise all of the time zones. I was so pleased that I actually got the Newfoundland times correct. Deanne, Stitching on the Rock, said, yep, you got it right. And she's going to join me. I've had a number of messages of people that want to join the Two Bay Stitchers and I on a stitch together moment. So I hope that you will continue to reach out to me to let me know whether you are interested in doing this. And if you're somebody who just didn't quite participate in this Canada Swaps but knows that you would like to in the future, send me a line. You're invited to come too. We're happy. We just want to create a sense of community and build up the friendships that as Flosstubers, we already have some of them established, and we want to share that so that we get to actually know the Flosstubers, but also the non-Flosstubers. I have had a couple of people say, please do a Canada Swaps abroad. So I am happy to help to organize that for the beginning of 2025's swap as well. And I know Michelle is excited that there are Canadians elsewhere that are wanting to participate as well. So if you are a Canadian abroad, you can also let me know that you'd like to be part of the Canada Swaps and Chats. I do hope that while we had our moments together, you had gorgeous fabric, floss, and needle in hand, so that as you made something beautiful, you made yourself happy. I look forward to seeing each of you again. I pray that each of you is safe and happy. Until we meet again in 2 weeks, bye-bye for now.